KTRS.com.
7-Eleven, busy day in terms of national news. Let's get Sam Donaldson's take on all of it. Good morning, Sam Donaldson.
Good morning, McGraw.
You've seen quite a bit of these State of the Unions. I don't know if this will go down as one of the best or most famous, but clearly the end where he had the place rocking about the whole gun control was clearly the climax of the speech.
Yeah, the shrewd orators always save their best and most emotional pitch for the end, and he certainly did it last night. I mean, they deserve a vote as he went down the list of high crimes, including Gabby Giffords. They deserve a vote, and it brought a lot of people to their feet who are not going to vote for it.
I find it interesting that he was asking for a vote. Why didn't he ask for the passage of it?
Well, because at the moment the votes aren't there, and he knows it. Now, can he gin up enough public support to overwhelm the National Rifle Association? We'll see. It's a real uphill slog. So what he's saying is quite logical. Hey, guys, vote against it if you want to. He even used almost those words. But let's have a vote. These people who have been murdered, their families, American children, deserve a vote. It's hard to say, no, they don't deserve a vote. But, of course, there are a lot of members who don't want to vote because they don't want to offend the National Rifle Association, but they understand if they vote against some gun control measures, the rest of the public may turn them out.
In all of your years, Sam Donaldson, was Ronald Reagan the best at this?
Well, he certainly understood that you don't bite off more than you can chew, to use the old expression. He wanted to do three things, and over the years he proposed lots of other things to Congress, but the three things were lower the taxes, spend the Russians into bankruptcy, and get people off welfare that don't deserve to be on there. And he got two of those things done. It took Bill Clinton and the Republicans in 1996 to do the welfare reform.
But his State of the Union speeches, Reagan's was, and maybe it was because I was young and impressionable and didn't know any better, but it seemed like he knew how to play with the mark. He knew how to use the guests in the galley. He just seemed to know how to give that State of the Union address.
Well, he was the one who originated guests in the galley. Before that, only the First Lady, her friends sat there. Larry Sputnik was one of the guys who helped save people from that Air Florida disaster. Remember the one that took off in a snowstorm and hit the 14th Street Bridge?
Right.
So he had Larry Sputnik. He said, there's a hero. We have heroes in this country. Reagan's theme was optimism. We're a great people. All of this. And there's one right there. Well, since then, everyone's put one there. He did have a sense of timing. But remember, he was an actor. People say, oh, he's a B actor. No, he's a pretty good actor. He learned his profession. He learned how to do it, and he did it well, whether he was in Hollywood or at the podium of the Congress.
I'm more fascinated with the presidents walking in and who trips over everybody to shake the hand. Him and Orrin Hatch, senator from Utah, had a man hug last night on his way out the door.
Well, that's true, and Orrin Hatch placed himself. I mean, people come early. Sometimes it's like waiting for Walmart to open 3 days ahead of a sale. People come early who are members of Congress to get those aisle seats, since there are no reserve seats, and except for the leadership. And so here's Orrin Hatch. He wants to work a little bit with the president, and of course he wants the president's support for some of his stuff. Good luck.
Mitt Romney was mentioned a couple times last night.
Well, yes, the president said that, Governor Romney and I agree on one thing. He mentioned one thing that they agree on. That is, setting up a bipartisan commission to try to effect reform of our election process. But I don't think it was a speech in which he said, well, I'm here, I won, but boy, this bit Romney. Let's listen to him on all the other issues. Wrong.
That woman in the galley who was 100 years old who had to wait 6 hours to vote, that's borderline criminal.
Well, 102. That's right, 102 years old. They took shots of her, as you saw, and she's clearly got a little infirmity. Well, at 102, you're entitled. But her story, assuming it's absolutely correct, is remarkable. To stand out there 4 or 5 or 6 hours, the president again used it emotionally, and then she put on the little sticker which said, "I voted."
Yeah. It was. I like that. That was my favorite moment of the night. What did you think of? First of all, let's forget the water drinking incident for a second.
Okay.
What did you think of Marco Rubio's opposition speech?
I was impressed as far as presentation. I think he has poise, and I've seen a lot of commentary say, "Oh, it was bumbling." It wasn't bumbling. And he sweated a little bit, and then, of course, there was the water point, which was smart. You and I, McGraw, have often gotten dry throat, and if we didn't take a swig of water, that's the way we'd sound on the air. We can't do that. He couldn't afford that, so he did the smart thing. But he's young, he's clearly bright, he's personable. He was the Republican philosophy, except on immigration, that helped lose him the election last year. So let's see how he evolves, if at all, on other issues. But I thought he did a good job for the Republican Party insofar as their philosophy runs.
I agree completely. I thought his speech was dead on. I thought he was personable. He was interesting. He smiled. He was engaging. He wasn't stiff. And quite frankly, that little drink of water actually made him personable as well.
Yeah, what he was saying was, look, guys, I got a dry throat. I'm going to do the smart thing and take just a moment and get a swig of water so I can continue with a presentation I want you to hear. Now, that's the smart thing to do. We want smart presidents, if that's so, and he's going to run someday if he can.
I also thought it was interesting when President Obama said, I know you guys like transportation projects. I've seen all those ribbon-cutting ceremonies.
And did you see the smile on his face?
Yeah.
Because so many of those ribbon-cutting ceremonies come from districts where the Republican is delighted to get the money and cut the ribbon, but boy, makes the speech on the floor say, I denounced this, it's excessive spending. That's why he was smiling.
It seems to me, Sam Donaldson, that there seems to be a little bit of a thaw between the two parties. Am I reading that wrong?
I wish I could say you're not, but I'm afraid you may be premature at best. Because just look at John Boehner. Did you watch John Boehner, who had a perfect position behind the camera?
Right.
I've never seen a sour face on the opposition speaker, than Boehner. He looked like, a constipated muskrat. I don't mean to use derogatory terms, but I think he purposely wanted to make the point that he didn't like any of this, except 2 or 3 points. On the troops, obviously. Immigration, yes, and so you say, well, maybe that's the harbinger of the party. But on everything else that he's already said, minimum wage, folks, forget about it, at least in the Republican House, and many of the other president's initiatives.
It's also interesting to watch Vice President Biden clap and stand, and then Boehner gives like 1 or 2 claps. So
yeah, 1 or 2 claps when he has to. I mean, for instance, you can't not clap for the troops. You can't not clap for sentiments that are apple pie and motherhood, and he did. But he didn't want to show that he liked it. He didn't want to say, I'm doing with some enthusiasm. But, boy, Joe Biden, who some people think wants to run for president next time around, just jumped up and hollered and well, of course, that's what vice presidents do.
Right, yeah.
They support their chief 1,000%.
Sam Donaldson, thanks for checking in and your pearls of wisdom. We always appreciate it. Have a good week, Sam.
Okay, McGraw.
Sam Donaldson here, ABC News. And where else do you get that type of inside analysis that John Boehner looked like a constipated muskrat? Ladies and gentlemen, only here on the Big 550 KTRS, your official traffic and weather station, the Big 550 KTRS.